All right, we're gonna make chickpea salad today, and we're gonna start right from the dry beans. So I buy this bag at Costco. Let me see what they look like in there. They're pretty little, they're really cheap. I think it's $9 for the entire bag, which lasts me several years. Super easy to store. So if you can imagine, you know, having, I don't know how many chickpeas you go through, but a lot of chickpeas on hand, and it takes up a bag that's this big. So it beats buying them where they've already been soaked with water, they're canned and packaged, and you store the finished product, or you store the raw material, like the dried beans, cheaper, whatever. So here's how easy it is to cook your own. So you can do this with all your beans, right from red lentils on up to chickpeas, so kidney beans, everything. And you don't really need to measure super accurately. What you'll do is use the cooking guide that comes with your pressure cooker, and you know, it's kind of three water and 1 cup of beans or peas. So I don't even, at this point, I don't even measure anymore. I just think, okay, well, I could use some for a couple, you know, a week or two, whatever. So I put about a cup-ish in the bottom. I more or less cover the bottom of the vessel. And then I put in some water, and that's really all you need to put in, but I'll show you 2 extra things that you might want to put in. So I make sure there's plenty of water, because most of the water is going to get thrown out anyways. So I add salt, and this is apple cider vinegar, any kind of vinegar. You need acid to really soften them, because from my experience, so if you don't put any acid in it, they are a little bit crunchy, and I don't really like crunchy chickpeas personally, and I also like mine salted, so I don't have to add as much salt later. So I put in, similar to I do rice, so I do about a teaspoon per cup of dry. I don't know. They're not too salty, and they don't feel like they're missing something either. And I put a slosh of vinegar, so maybe a tablespoon-ish. There, a little slosh. And this is optional, the salt is optional. Really all you need is water and legumes. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the lid on. Now chickpeas are of all the beans, they take the longest. So what you're gonna do is go to the beans settings. So I'm gonna turn it till beans is flashing. The default time is 25 minutes. I'm gonna press it and say, no, I want more. I want 40 minutes. And then I press and hold, and it starts. And that's all I do. And so it's gonna come up to temperature, it's gonna cook them for 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna let it rest. So I leave it sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and when I come back, I don't have to release the pressure by pressing the pressure release button. It's already released, because as it cools down, it releases the pressure. So it's that easy to just kind of set it and forget it. And it takes virtually no electricity. I mean, because it's all contained, it uses 70% less electricity. There's no cans to get rid of. There's no cans to store. This takes up so less room. And so sometimes people say to me, well, I don't have room to store the appliance. Well, are you storing beans right now? And so all of those cans of beans are an easy way to kind of visually give yourself the sense of, okay, I get it. I have to look at what I'm storing in my kitchen. Maybe I change what I'm storing. And that's how you make room for the appliances that will do a lot of the work, save you money, hand over fist for years, as well as save a bit of the environment. So we can all do our little part. So anyways, that's how you get started to make a chickpea salad. And so if you work from home, it's on a weekend, whenever, and you think, oh, I should make some chickpeas so I can make chickpea salad next week, just throw them in there, forget about them, come back whenever you're good and ready, and scoop them out. And what you're gonna do is just take the beans and the liquid and put them in a storage container until you're ready to use them, so that they're covered in the water, and just store it in the fridge if you're gonna use it up right away, whether you want them cool or warm or whatever. If you're gonna put them in your cooking, then that's easy. But I usually just store them in a covered bowl, and often I use the glass bowls or the blue plastic bowls, and I use these stretch fit lids, because this, you don't sell those rectangular ones anymore. So I use these stretch fit lids to cover all my bowls, and then I don't use plastic wrap either, because a little bit, you know, this saves a lot. And I use, these can go in the oven in a dish, you know, that you need to cover. So they're heat safe, they're microwave safe, the fridge safe. So you'll use these as well time and time again. Again, they're one of those things that you can do to have in your kitchen. And to store them, I nest them like this, and then I literally roll them up so that they're just like a little tube. You can put them in a spot where you have, it'll stay contained, or put an elastic band or something on top of it and store it as well. So again, these are all ways to make it cheaper, healthier, you know, less waste, and just be good to ourselves, be good to the earth. Okay, chickpea salad, let's do it. I have not touched this, so you can see that it's been sitting and keeping warm for an hour and 45 minutes. That means that we have so much flexibility, and it has released all the pressure. So I can just take the lid off and let it drip in, and then I'll show you what it looks like so you can see it all. Here you go. And there's liquid at the front. It's kind of hiding. What we're gonna do is just grab some of the chickpeas. Sorry. We're gonna grab some of the chickpeas, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick them in my manual food processor. So you could put them in a big food processor. You could, it's totally up to you how you wanna do yours. I just find that I like the texture of it being partially crushed, but still having some, so it's not like hummus, it's not a mash. So how much did I do? I have almost 2 cups, let's say I have 2 cups. And you can see that I'm draining a lot of it, so I don't have very much liquid in here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this on, and I'm going to process it. I find that when it's warm, it's definitely easier. So that's kind of one go at it. I'll give it a little shake. So this lid, if you're not familiar with it, it just sits on here. There's the little hex, I think it's a hex, 1, 2, 3, yeah. And so give it a shake, because it's not locked on. So you can see I put my thumbs on to hold it. Give it a shake around, especially when it's full and you want to redistribute everything. You want to give it a full extension push, like that. All right, and then we are going to simply scrape everything off the lid, and now we're going to throw in some pickles and some mayonnaise. Oh, I need a fork. My apologies. All right. So I have some homemade dill pickles, so I'm just gonna scoop some in here. I like dill pickles. You could put sweet pickles, however you make egg salad, it's kind of a similar thing. I like dills. I don't know. So is that enough? I don't know. Maybe a little bit more. I have no idea. I'm probably putting about a 1/4 cup in there. And the other thing I'm gonna put on here right now is some mayonnaise. And I'm gonna probably put 1, 2, 3. That's probably about a 1/4 cup. Let's say it's about a 1/3 of a cup. Let me show you. That's what it looks like. All right, and I have some green goddess seasoning. So this is gonna wanna stick to the lid because I have it so close. You can see what it's looking like. There you go. And I realized that, oh, I can use this one. I just made mayonnaise, and my other small mixing scraper is still in there. I'm gonna snitch it. Oh, this looks fine. I'm gonna take the blade right out right now. And all that I'm doing now is just stirring it all in here. And I'm gonna put, I think, a little more mayo. So I'm gonna say 1/2 cup for approximately 1/2 cup to your taste. The other thing you can do is you can, what I've done sometimes is I've used, what is it called? I've used some of the juice. Sometimes you can use pickle juice, or you can use the aquafaba, that's the water that comes off of the chickpeas, because it, I don't know, it just goes with it. It wets it out so you don't need as much mayonnaise if you like it kind of wetter. I don't know what other word to use. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some green goddess seasoning mix. This one, I'm adding about a tablespoon right there. I find that it has a little bit of salt in it and it has herbs and stuff, so it adds a really nice flavor, I think, to it. It has a bunch of herbs in there, like tarragon and summery kinds of things, so it makes it a bit greener. There you go. That's what it looks like. You can see. And that's it, it's done. And so I often will actually eat this either on crackers. It is good in a sandwich, in a pita. It's also good on a salad. So it's one of my favorite ways to eat it. So I'll put a bunch of greens on a plate. I'll put some olive oil on there. And then I'll put a couple of scoops of this on there. And I feel like it's got such really good flavors and textures that it just makes a really good finishing top to a salad. So kind of like you would put a grilled chicken on a salad, you can put a couple scoops of chickpea salad on there and have a delicious, flavorful, cheap lunch that, yeah, it's so good. I love it. I hope you do too.